All right, let's zoom out a bit from our specific relationship dramas and look at the bigger picture, the Middle East map. Because if you thought the individual relationships were complicated, trying to understand the region as a whole is like attempting to solve a Rubik's Cube while riding a unicycle, blindfolded, in a room full of highly opinionated parrots. It's less a map and more a constantly shifting, incredibly high-stakes chessboard, where every nation is a piece, and frankly, some of those pieces are armed with bazookas and have a tendency to go rogue. No pressure for the grandmasters, right? So picture this, the Middle East. It's not just a collection of countries, it's a mosaic of ancient cultures, competing narratives, and more layers of historical grievances than an archaeological dig at a family reunion. Every major player, from the regional powers to the global giants, sees this as their personal game board. And the rules? Well, the rules are more like suggestions, and they change mid-game, usually when someone finds a new oil field or a particularly charismatic revolutionary. It's less chess and more a chaotic game of Calvin ball, but with actual bombs. Let's talk about the players, shall we? You've got the big regional heavyweights, Iran and Saudi Arabia. They're the two dominant rooks on opposite sides of the board, constantly maneuvering for influence. Iran, often seen as the revolutionary, ideological player, is keen on expanding its Shiite crescent of influence. Think of them as the player who suddenly decides all their pawns can fly. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, the staunch Sunni guardian, aims to counter Iranian expansion and maintain regional stability, on its own terms, of course. They're the player who prefers a slow, strategic game, but has a very large, well-funded army of knights and bishops. Then you have the smaller, but equally feisty pieces. Israel, a strategically agile knight, always looking for opportunities to secure its borders and counter perceived threats, especially from Iran and its proxies. They're the piece that seems to jump over everyone else in unexpected ways. Turkey, a resurgent empire, wannabe, often acts like a rogue queen, moving in unpredictable directions to project its power across the region from Libya to Syria. And then you have Egypt, the traditional regional leader, now a somewhat weary king, focused mostly on domestic stability, but still a significant player. And let's not forget the non-state actors, the wild cards. Groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, various Kurdish factions, and even remnants of ISIS are like those annoying pieces that pop up out of nowhere, mess up your carefully planned strategy, and then disappear back into the shadows. They're not bound by national borders or international treaties, making them incredibly unpredictable and dangerous. It's like playing chess. But someone keeps dropping marbles onto the board. The alliances in this region are more fluid than a melting ice cream cone in the desert sun. Today's ally might be tomorrow's rival, and vice versa. The U.S., traditionally a major player, or a giant hand that occasionally sweeps pieces off the board, has seen its influence shift. Meanwhile, has made a dramatic comeback, particularly in Syria, acting like a cunning grandmaster who saw an opening and seized it. China is quietly moving its economic pawns, building influence without getting too entangled in the messy politics. It's a complex dance, where everyone is trying to gain an advantage without tripping over their own feet, or worse, setting off a global chain reaction. The moves on this chessboard are rarely straightforward. A proxy war in Yemen, an airstrike in Syria, a diplomatic overture in Oman, a cyber attack on a nuclear facility, each is a calculated move, designed to shift the balance of power, gain leverage, or simply annoy the opponent into making a mistake. And the stakes? Oh, the stakes are enormous. Regional hegemony, oil resources, religious dominance, and of course, the ever-present threat of wider conflict. It's less about checkmate and more about perpetual stalemate, with occasional bursts of explosive violence. And the unpredictable moves are what keep everyone on edge. A sudden shift in domestic politics within a country, an unexpected alliance, a game-changing technological development, or simply a charismatic leader making a bold, the risky play can completely upend the board. It's like playing poker, but everyone has a wild card, and the dealer occasionally swaps out the deck. The region is a masterclass in strategic ambiguity and calculated risk. Each player tries to keep their intentions opaque, their capabilities veiled, and their next move a secret. It's why analyzing the Middle East often feels like trying to read tea leaves in a hurricane. The tragic reality is that while strategists and politicians play their high-stakes game, it's often the ordinary people caught in the crossfire who pay the highest price. Wars, displacement, humanitarian crises. These aren't just lines on a map, they're lives torn apart. It's a reminder that beneath the grand chessboard of geopolitics are real people dealing with real consequences. So, the next time you see a headline about the Middle East, remember it's not just a random act of chaos. It's a move in a deeply complex, centuries-old game. A game where the board is constantly shifting, the rules are debatable, and the players are fiercely determined. It's a game of chess, but with a lot more explosions and a constant feeling that someone forgot to reset the timer for humanity. And understanding that complexity, even just a little, is the first step to not being entirely bewildered by the next unpredictable move. Right?